Here we're going to say nonmetals tend to gain electrons and to become negatively charged, because remember, if you're gaining negative electrons, you're going to become more negative. So you become negatively charged ions called anions. Now, if we take a look here, we're going to say fluorine has an atomic number of 9. Since we assume it's neutral on the periodic table, it also has 9 electrons. Just say to yourself, how many electrons does fluorine need to gain to become just like neon? Well, all it needs to do is gain 1 electron. And in fact, all the halogens, all the elements in group 6A need just one more 7A, just need 1 more electron to become just like a noble gas. So they have a -1 charge. Oxygen needs 2 more electrons to become just like a noble gas. So group 6A, the chalcogens, have a -2 charge. 5A would be -3. Now, group 4A, it's kind of halfway. It can either gain or lose electrons, equal distance, right? So we tend not to say that they're strictly one type of charge. Carbon is a nonmetal, but it doesn't, so it won't lose electrons. But it won't necessarily gain them either. We'll learn later that carbon forms special kinds of bonds called covalent bonds. The same thing can be true with silicon right below it. The two metals, the real metals in this group are tin and lead. And these two guys behave like type 2 metals. They have more than 1 charge. Now, it's a lot of things to be taken in, but just remember, things are reactive because they're trying to become like noble gases. Metals will lose electrons to become like the closest noble gas, whereas nonmetals will gain electrons to become like the closest noble gas. That's the whole purpose of this. Remember, type 1 metals have only 1 charge. Zinc, cadmium, and silver, even though they're transition metals, they have only 1 charge, and therefore they're type 1 metals. Type 2 metals have more than 1 positive charge. These guys are typically your transition metals. The exceptions to that are tin, which is Sn, can be +2 or +4, or lead, Pb, which is +2 or +4. These are the exceptions that professors will quickly go over in class, realizing that some people may not hear it or may not write it down, but they always like to test on it. They always like to test questions on zinc, cadmium, and silver, what their charges are. They always like to give questions on exams on tin and lead, what their charges are. Are they type 1 or type 2? As long as you can remember, why do things have certain charges based on their proximity to the noble gases? And as long as you can remember the exceptions, you'll be better prepared for this section.